y'all, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and on this channel we do all things spooky and creepy, whether that is reading your all stories that you send to me, which we do quite often, talking about scary books, scary movies, Appalachian folklore, my own scary stories, or creepy TikToks I've seen. We do it all. So if that sounds cool to you, I would love to have you here. Now, I love you so much. If you're watching this, I love you. These probably are my least watched videos, but they're one of my favorites to make because they hold me accountable on reading and watching new movies, because I had stopped doing both of those when I got a little bit depressed a while back. So it's kind of forcing me to do it again because it makes me happy. So thank you so much for supporting these videos and all of my videos, really. Now, in the past, I started this at the beginning of the year. I would do one video for books and one for movies, but we're just gonna smush them all together because we only have like 8 open slots now in the month, and I want to put them all in one day. Before we get into that though, please check out the description below to find out where to send your scary stories for me to read on those videos, and my other social medias as well. But without further ado, let's get into the media that I consumed in February, and we're going to start off with the books. Now, the first book I want to talk about is the book Old Country. Now, Old Country is really going to scratch any itch you have about folklore. Now, this book does take place on the other side of the country, away from the Appalachian Mountains, but it's very similar storytelling vibes as Appalachian folklore, so I do think you will enjoy it if you enjoy my content. So in this book, we follow a couple, Harry and Sasha, who find their dream home just on this big plot of land so they can have their own ranch right beside of a national forest. And they are so excited. They're a little confused because they submitted a low ball offer and it got accepted. So already they were kind of like, okay, like I guess it was meant to be, but that's kind of weird. So they move there, they meet their neighbors soon after, and their neighbors inform them that the land is a little bit peculiar, and there are certain rituals you have to do to keep things on that land that have been there long before we have at bay and happy. This book kept me on the edge of my seat, and the way that these occurrences are written were completely horrifying, and they will stick with you long after you read this. I hope to God this is made into a movie. It's made me want to make a short film out of parts of this book. It is so vivid and so incredibly haunting. Also, there is a dog in this book named Dash. Dash remains unharmed throughout the entire book. I just want to throw that out there. There are a few other scenes involving animal harm. There's a scene involving a bear and a scene involving a raccoon that kind of got to me. You'll see those coming. But please check out that book, and if you've read it, please let me know what you thought. The next book was a very short book, and it was Sour Candy. I mean short. I think it was like under 100 pages or right at 100 pages, but this book had a lot packed into just those few pages. Now, we start off this book from a man's point of view at a grocery store, where he has an encounter with a woman who's just kind of disassociating in the candy aisle and a child who is just screaming. And he leaves that grocery store kind of shaken up by the experience for some reason, is in a car crash involving that same woman and that child, and his life spirals out of control and nothing is as it seems after. I genuinely think I read this book in like one day, in a few hours, because I couldn't put it down. And I cannot recommend it enough. If you like scary things, you will love Sour Candy. Now, the next book I read is When No One Was Watching. And this was such a good, like, thriller book. We follow 2 people throughout this book, and that is Sydney, a girl who's lived in this Brooklyn neighborhood her entire life, and Theo, someone who has just recently moved into this neighborhood because he bought a house with his ex. And we follow both of their perspectives as they come together and notice that the neighborhood is changing. It's called an up-and-coming neighborhood. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. People are going missing. There's far more sinister things going on than what we think. I had no idea what was happening until the end, but I really enjoyed the deep dives into history that this book does. I felt like I was learning a lot, and it was heartbreaking and terrifying at the same time. So I cannot recommend this book enough. Now, the last book I'm actually still currently reading, so I can't really say much about it, but I have seen the movie, and that is Psycho. I just watched the movie for the first time recently, and it's based off of a book, so I thought I should definitely read the book. I love it so far. I'm like, I don't know, like 50 pages in. It's not very long at all, but I love it and I recommend it, and I recommend the movie as well because it's fantastic. That is all the books that I read this month, but let's turn around and get into the movies that I watched this month. The first movie that I want to talk about is The Monkey. Now, The Monkey follows two twin brothers that are going through their dad's closet, and they find this mysterious toy monkey, like the one that has the drum and like he hits the drum, you know what I mean? So they wind it up, they get him out and like wind up the key on his back, and suddenly people start having their lives taken in wild ways around them. So they deem this monkey responsible and they get rid of it, and the monkey comes back in their adult life, and that's essentially what we're following in this movie, is their adult life. This movie was a 10 out of 10. It was a horror comedy. It was such a beautiful blend. I think it's really easy to mess up a horror comedy. I truly do, because if you put too much comedy, it just ends up being goofy and dumb. But this one was fantastic. I'm not to shade anything, but I think Bodies was too much comedy. This one did it perfectly, just the right amount of terror. The acting was great, storyline was great. The director of this directed Longlegs, and the story is based on a Stephen King book. So we knew that it was going to be great from the get-go, and it was, and I think you should go see it. The next movie that I want to talk about is actually another horror comedy that worked out pretty well, and that is Heart Eyes. Now, Heart Eyes follows this masked killer who really likes to target couples on Valentine's Day, and we follow two people who are being targeted this Valentine's Day in this town because he moves around towns. And it is fantastic. I loved the acting in it. 10 out of 10. Storyline was great. It was funny. It was great. It was really fun. Don't go into it taking it too seriously and you'll have a good time. Now, this one's not horror, but I did watch the new Captain America movie, and it was pretty good. It follows the new Captain America who gets like roped into politics, and the president has like a breach in his inner circle that's trying to bring him down, and it's really good. It was a lot of fun. I liked it. Now, granted, I am not really the Marvel gal. I was introduced to Marvel by my husband during Infinity War. That was my first Marvel movie that I ever saw. And I have watched some of the new releases. I think my favorites, Doctor Strange and Wanda. I love Scarlet Witch. So those are my picks, but I did enjoy this movie. It kept my attention. If a Marvel movie can keep my attention, that means it's probably good. And I do recommend going to see it. It was good. The next movie I watched was Companion, and I actually got to see that before it came out with AMC's Scream Unseen, so that was really fun. And it follows Iris, who goes with her boyfriend on a vacation to his friend's house, and all things turn to absolute garbage when one of the friends is... it's fun, don't take it too seriously. Acting is great. Phenomenal acting, to be quite honest. But my only issue with this movie is they kind of gave away the twist in the promotions, and I hated that. Please stop doing that. I'm begging you to stop doing that. Companies, are you listening to me? Stop. So these next two movies I actually have not watched yet. I plan on watching one of them tonight and one of them tomorrow, but we're still going to talk about them anyways. I just can't give you my thoughts yet. The first one is Little Bites, and this is a Shudder original about a woman who decides that she needs to do anything she can to keep her daughter safe. So to do that, she makes a bargain with a monster and agrees to let that monster eat her from the inside out. I have been so excited about that movie for months. The next movie is Black Eyed Children. It is not out yet. I received a screener because I'm a voice role in it. I am a voice actor in this movie, and it's so cool, and I am so excited to watch it, and I don't think I can tell you guys any more than that. The next two movies that I watched were actually rom-coms. Monster-in-Law, I watch it all the time to make myself feel better about my own mother-in-law. I'm sure you've seen it, but the second one, the second rom-com that I watched was also a Jennifer Lopez movie, and it was made in Manhattan because my husband had never seen it, and I thought that was criminal, so we watched it. Anyways, that is all of the media that I consumed this month. I love you so much if you stayed and watched this video, and I will be back, and I'll try to do better in March. I want to read more books. My goal is to just read one a week, and I did that this month, so that's good. But I kind of want to do more than that. As long as I hit 50 books this year, I hit my goal. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.